I'm ready to take questions. Yes. Yeah, Bob. The game was lost. The game was definitely not won. We didn't win the game. It goes down into the loss column. As a collective, we definitively played as well as we could, but we could have played better at the same time, if that makes any sense. The speculation on whether I should have benched Kenny Pickett for Mitch Trubisky, that was not on my radar. He was highly competitive, and that's just the nature of the game. Why didn't I bench Kenny? Why should I? Kenny had 32 completions. The nature, he set us back with the interceptions at the end. They were very calculated passes, crisp passes, a good pass. Both of those interceptions at the end were great passes, but it just went to the opposite team, and that's something that we can't have moving forward. In preparation for this game, we told him not to throw any interceptions, but he did what he wanted to at the end, and we can't have that from a perspective of a coach or a quarterback. But I've said encouraging things about him in that process, but the division of labor is amongst everyone on the team, 53 men, 46 on game day. So we're not going to put this all on Kenny. He was a catalyst for 57 minutes of the game. The division of labor is spread across. But like I said, I have reasonable expectations that Kenny can win next week in Philadelphia. Any other questions? Dave? We're making the necessary adjustments on defense. We're missing a lot of guys, but that's not an excuse. We don't live in our fears, and we don't deal with excuses, okay? We didn't do enough of that. That meaning tackling. Open field tackling got better in the second half, but it wasn't there in the first half. And as you know, this is a process, which is a 60-minute a game that's 60 minutes, that we have to play the entire 60 minutes and not the minutes that we feel like playing. We have to play throughout the whole game. And we were engaged, but at the same time, we weren't married to the fact that we had to play the entire game. And that's from a coaching perspective. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Yeah. I can't paint it with a broad brush as far as the running game. But I will say this, we did average, I believe, 4.1 yards a carry during the game. And we moved the ball. Maybe we didn't run enough. Maybe that falls on the coaches, the coaching staff. But we didn't blink, nor did we keep our eyes closed. But our eyes weren't open enough. Because if they were open 24/7, we'd have won the game. We just didn't do enough. We didn't do what was required to do to win. But we're not focused on that. We're focused on the Philadelphia Eagles next. And we can't dictate what happened this week into what's going to happen next week in preparation for that game. We're making the necessary adjustments, like I said before. That question was asked already. This speculation that their quarterback for Philadelphia will be doing the same things that Tua did this week to us, which is passing all over us in the first half. We got to make necessary adjustments. I don't know when T.J. Watt will be back. We can't paint that with a broad brush, but there was some encouraging things that I saw in his progress this week in practice. That's all I can tell you right now. We're playing varsity football, and we can't play JV at this point. That's a narrative that I'm not going to go down that road with you. We had this discussion before in another press conference, so I'm not going to keep answering the same questions. No, I don't have an attitude. That's the process. We formulate a plan and we stick to the plan. We didn't stick to the plan in the first half, but we recovered in the second half and did what we needed to do. But like I said, the quarterback threw 2 great passes to the other team. And they need to go to wide receivers, tight ends, or running backs on our team for us to win the game at the end. But I'm not going away from him. Mitch Trubisky is a capable starter, capable backup, but he'll be just that, a backup, until I say otherwise, and I haven't said otherwise. The fat lady hasn't seen, nor has the brown man at this point. And we're not living in our fears. And we're required to not live in our fears. Throughout all circumstances, we don't blink. I'm not going to say we're going to open up a can of hell right now, but in the future we may. Depends on if we can start scoring points or not, because you can't win games without scoring points. Anything else? We'll deal with that in game. That's the process that we'll deal with in game. We can't always coach everything during the week. The schematics are in front of us during the week in practice, film study, but when we're out there on the field, that's when things really get done. And it happens in all three phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. The fourth phase is coaching. We haven't figured out what to do from that standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, as to how to win games. And that falls on me and my coordinators. And we'll take the blame for that. I understand I'm in a position where we take blame when we don't win games. And that rhyme, by the way. Any other questions? No, I won't be answering that at this juncture. No. Yeah. As far as the running game, we're making progress, but we're not being progressive. The offensive line is playing much better. They were much maligned, as you know, in the preseason. The things that were said about them were very disrespectful coming from the media and the fans. I'm proud of my offensive line. They've upgraded within 7 weeks to average. They're playing average, and average is good right now compared to what it was the last 2 or 3 years. No knock on those guys that were organization before, but they didn't block well. And we can't, this is a game where we succeed in all three phases. And we're not succeeding at all. We're 2-5. It's not successful. Like I said, there's 10 games left, and we don't live in our fears. We move forward, and we remain progressive in all three phases of the game. This is varsity football, and that's the nature of it. We'll have our setbacks, but we're making necessary adjustments. As you can tell in this press conference, I'm using the same Tomlinisms and 25 same phrases. Okay? That's from a coaching perspective. We need a catalyst right now. And I'm not the catalyst because I'm not out here throwing the ball and throwing interceptions. So Kenny Pickett's going to have to be the catalyst. Is that it? Everyone have a good evening. See you in practice Tuesday.